You're in the middle of a conversation. Things are flowing, you're engaged, and then it happens. Your mind goes completely blank. You search for something, anything to say, but the harder you reach, the emptier it gets. And in those few seconds of silence, a voice in your head whispers, "Why do I always do this?" Here's what's strange. The people who seem to effortlessly talk to anyone about anything for hours, they're not more intelligent than you. They're not naturally more charismatic. They've simply learned something that most people never figure out. And by the end of this video, so will you. Let's be clear about something. Running out of things to say is not a personality flaw. It is not shyness. It's not awkwardness. It's not some permanent social defect baked into your DNA. It is, at its core, a thinking problem. Specifically, it's the result of overthinking at exactly the wrong moment. Here's what actually happens in real time. You're talking. Something comes to mind, but before you say it, a filter kicks in. Is that good enough? Will they judge me? What if I sound stupid? And while that internal critic is running its little courtroom drama, the moment passes. Psychologists call the result of this hesitation the overthinking tax. The more you pause to evaluate what you should say, the less you actually say, and the worse you feel about it afterward. The spiral tightens, the silence grows, and a perfectly capable person convinces themselves they are broken. But here's the twist, and this one might actually surprise you. In 2000, psychologist Thomas Gilovich ran a now famous experiment at Cornell University. He had students put on a t-shirt featuring a famously uncool face, Barry Manilow, and walk into a room full of other students. Before entering, each person was asked, "What percentage of people in that room do you think will notice your shirt?" The average answer? 50%. The actual result? 25. Half of what they feared. This is what Gilovich called the spotlight effect, our deep-wired tendency to believe we are being watched, evaluated, and judged far more than we actually are. And it doesn't just apply to embarrassing t-shirts. Every time you say something slightly awkward in conversation, your brain treats it like a spotlight just switched on, like everyone noticed, like it will be remembered. But they didn't, and it won't. People are too busy monitoring their own spotlight to obsess over yours. This single realization, truly absorbing it, is the first key to unlocking natural, flowing conversation. Because once you're not terrified of judgment, the gate opens. But knowing you shouldn't be afraid and actually feeling free, that's two different things. Which brings us to the real mechanics of conversation. Think about the most interesting person you've ever met at a party or networking event. They seemed to have something to say about almost every topic that came up. They moved between subjects smoothly: tech, travel, culture, food, history. And you probably thought, they must just be naturally interesting. Wrong. What you were seeing was the tip of an iceberg. Below the surface was something much more deliberate, a wide, diversified range of interests that they had built intentionally over time. They listened to varied podcasts. They read outside their comfort zone. They stayed curious about the world, not just in their area of expertise, but around it. The rule isn't that you need to be an expert in everything. You just need to know enough about enough things to connect with enough people. Think of it as interest diversification. The same way a financial portfolio becomes resilient by spreading across different assets, a conversational portfolio becomes resilient by spreading across different domains. Science, culture, sports, history, food, design, local news, whatever. And here's something counterintuitive. When you don't know about a topic, that's actually a gift. Because genuine curiosity is one of the most magnetic qualities a person can have in conversation. Saying, "I actually don't know much about that. What got you into it?" is not a weakness. It's an invitation. And people love being invited to share something they care about. Now let's talk about the single most practical tool for keeping any conversation alive. It's called the spokes method. Picture a bicycle wheel. In the center, the hub, is whatever topic is being discussed right now. Radiating outward from that hub are spokes, related ideas, adjacent questions, personal angles, curiosities. Your job in conversation isn't to be an expert on the hub. Your job is to think around it. Say someone brings up mountain biking, something you know nothing about. You don't shut down. Instead, you spin the wheel. What's related to mountain biking? Outdoor adventure, physical endurance, specific trails, competitions, the learning curve, gear, risk. Any one of those spokes could become a new spoke of its own. Is there a competitive circuit for mountain biking? How does that work? What's the hardest trail you've ever tackled? What made you start? Was there a moment that hooked you? Here's the genius move hidden inside this technique. Those questions aren't just conversation fillers, they're invitations for the other person to talk about themselves. And here's what the research makes clear about human psychology. People fundamentally love talking about their own experiences, passions, and perspectives. Dale Carnegie, one of the most celebrated social thinkers of the 20th century, once attended a dinner party knowing virtually nothing about the subject being discussed. At the end of the night, his conversational partner told the host that Carnegie was the most fascinating conversationalist he had ever met. Carnegie had spent most of the evening asking questions and listening. The spokes method works because conversation isn't a performance, it's a relay. Your job isn't to carry it alone. Here's a layer that most people miss entirely. Conversation isn't just about what someone says, it's about how they say it, the emotion underneath the words. Consider this sentence: I'm going back to work tomorrow. Now imagine it's said by someone returning from a long vacation, tired, a little dread in their voice. And then imagine it's said by someone who just landed their first job after 6 months of unemployment. Quiet relief, quiet pride. Same words, completely different worlds. When you learn to listen below the surface, when you start responding to the feeling beneath the statement, not just the statement itself, something shifts in how people experience you. Suddenly, you're not just another person asking surface-level questions. You're someone who actually sees them. That capacity, what researchers call empathic attunement, is one of the fastest ways to build genuine connection with another person. It's the difference between talking at someone and talking with them. We've covered the psychology, the curiosity, the listening, but there's one final obstacle that undermines everything else: hesitation. The moment between having something to say and actually saying it. That microsecond where your brain asks, but is it good enough? Here's the truth. Perfect is the enemy of good, and it is the destroyer of conversation. The most socially confident people aren't the ones who always say the right thing. They're the ones who say something and keep moving. It's called the quick win principle. Instead of waiting until you have the ideal contribution, you make a small, real, honest one. You introduce yourself to the new person who just joined the group. You bring up an interesting story you read this morning. You ask a question, not because it's brilliant, but because you're genuinely curious. Every time you do this, something happens beneath the surface. You gather evidence, real, lived evidence that you can do this, that conversations don't fall apart when you speak, that people respond, that connection happens. And slowly, almost invisibly, the inner belief shifts. I am someone who is good with people. And mindset, here's the kicker, follows action, not the other way around. So let's come back to that moment. The blank mind, the creeping silence, the inner voice that says, something is wrong with me. What you now know is this. That spotlight you feel shining on you, it's mostly in your head. Research confirms that people are far less focused on your missteps than you imagine. That effortlessly interesting person, they built a diversified world of interests, and so can you. That conversation you thought required you to be an expert, it just required you to be curious, to spin the wheel, ask the questions, and let the other person be the one who shines. That feeling beneath the words, most people never slow down enough to notice it. You can be the rare person who does. And that hesitation, that pause before you speak, the answer isn't to think longer, it's to act sooner. Here's the question I want to leave you with. Think about the last conversation where your mind went blank.
What were you actually afraid of in that moment? Because I'd bet it wasn't really about running out of things to say. It was about being seen and found wanting. And the quiet truth is, most of the people you're afraid of impressing, they're terrified of exactly the same thing. The conversation you were both waiting for is still possible. You just have to be the one willing to start it. If this video changed how you think about conversation, even slightly, there's a follow-up question worth exploring. Why do some people build deep connections quickly while others spend years feeling like a stranger in every room? That answer is coming up next, and it might be the most important social insight you've never heard.